Good morning. So I had a cold for the last couple of days. I'm starting to get better, but I still have a little bit of a sore throat and a stuffy nose. But the energy levels are starting to get back, so I thought I would take you with me today on what I do to make myself feel a little bit better. After taking Poe out on his morning walk, the first thing I do is to make myself breakfast and the first cup of tea of the day. I take some black tea and then mix in my own meadowsweet tea that is good for fever and pain relief, and then some chamomile for calmness. Then I place myself in front of the fire with my laptop watching some series and forcing myself to rest so I don't completely drain my energy.
What took you so long? What is it? Why don't you eat?
When I feel rested again, I go up to the bedroom. When I've had a cold, the best feeling is when I'm well enough to clean out the bedroom and change the sheets. I might be one of the few people in Sweden that still uses top sheets, but this vintage linen is of an unmatched quality and has the feeling of freshly laundered sheets for days. And I really like the vintage look of the lace trims. I'm not doing any fancy bedding and I don't bother with a throw or extra pillows because I know that my energy levels might be up in an hour and I'll have to go to bed. But the feeling of a clean bedroom makes the cold feel a little less present. Then it was time to take out Poe for another walk. Shorter than normally, but it's so nice with a bit of fresh air. Then it was time for more tea and we're back in the sofa with a book. speaking of books, I thought I would share with you what I'm reading at the moment. As you can see, it's quite a pile. I'm one of those people who reads multiple books at a time, and depending on what mood I'm in, I read a different book. Try to stick to having like 2 non-fiction and 2 novels. First up we have Ernestine, a Swedish novel by Marquis de Sade. And I got very curious when I saw this book as to why a French author from the 1700s had an illustration of the fallen copper mine on the cover. But yeah, this is a novel that he wrote when he was imprisoned in the Bastille. It actually takes place in Sweden, in Stockholm and in Falun, and it's a very interesting read. Then we have Encyclopedia of Fairies, which is more in the fantasy genre. I have just started this book. I got this book from my sister-in-law for Christmas. I have not really an opinion on it so far, but for maybe like 50 pages that I've read, I really like it. Then I have just finished this one, which is Ur blod och aska, which is the Swedish translation of, I think it's called just, From Blood and Ash. And I really like this book. This is more in the fantasy romance smart genre. It's a good read actually, and I like it. It's a very... I don't want to say too much about it because it feels like it spoils a lot. I can't really talk about it without spoiling it, but I liked it. Continuing down the smut road, we have A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I have actually never read this book or the series at all. I have read the Throne of Glass series from her, so I'm gonna give this a try to see if I like it. Then I have 2 non-fiction books, and the first one is La Marquesa, Louisa Casati's Liv och skepnader, which is the Swedish translation of the book about Louisa Casati, she was an extraordinary woman in Venice, and I started rereading this just because I was in Venice a couple of weeks ago, and she just had a really extraordinary life and lifestyle in the beginning of the 1900s, and I really recommend this book because she's such an interesting woman. And lastly, I have a book about human sacrifices in the Viking Age, which is a very interesting book. I also just started this book, so I haven't really gotten into it yet. But it's a very interesting topic, and I picked this up when we were in Uppsala to visit grave mounds. So that is what I'm currently reading, and I'm super excited to know what you guys are reading, if you have any book recommendations, and if you are one of those people like me who want to read multiple books at a time, or if you prefer to finish one book before you go on to the next. Then it had gone dark, so we headed out for our last walk of the day before we got in, and I did some yoga. Not very pleasant after being on bed rest for days, but so needed. I heated up some potato and onion soup for dinner. Not very pleasing for the eye, but does wonders for the soul. Then when the inside felt taken care of, it was time for the outside. I oiled my scalp and my hair with a rosemary oil that I make myself, in equal parts for the hair care and to force myself to take a shower. I also found a sheet mask that I put on, together with one of those feet exfoliant treatments, and sat in front of the fire before taking a well-needed shower. And lastly, I ended the day with a trip to my childhood, with hot rosehip soup and ice cream. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!